Hi guys, so I'm just going to do a video of how I do the Kamsnaps with a little better up close view of what's going on. And so I've got the cap part. First thing I do is I poke this through the ribbon. So what I do is I'll hold the end of the ribbon as if I were unsnapping it, because I want enough to hold on to. If I have a snap on there, I want to be able to unsnap it. So it's basically a thumb's width apart from the end. And then I'll poke the cap through about right there. And it's centered right here. Oops. These happen to be a little bit smaller. It's just I picked the color and these are the smaller ones. But I usually use size 20. I think this is size 16, so I'm going to go ahead and get a size 20 and show you. Okay, so these are size 20. I got these little boxes from Harbor Freight. They were just like $3, but they, the one on Central that I go to, they ran out. So if you want to buy some of those, probably best to look online. Okay, so here's a size 20 cap. And it goes through that little hole. Okay, so it's centered. And then I'll use either side. I guess they're called innies and outies. This is an innie. So I use either one, it doesn't matter. As long as the second one is the other one. Okay, so this is really important. When I put it in there, I push it together. Because sometimes if it's not pushed and you're trying to put the wrench on there, that's when things can start to rock and roll here. So I'll push that all the way, and then I will put that on the wrench. Now the bottom black part is where that cap is going to sit inside. And that is exactly the size of the cap. So for each size of cap, you have that size. I don't know what this is called. So it's going to fit exactly in there. If you're trying to use a smaller cap for that, that's going to make everything go crooked. So this has to fit exactly. I'm going to show you that. So that's an exact fit. Now, you can't see it because of the ribbon, but sometimes if you're putting this in there, it wants to tilt a little bit. Because it's such a tight fit, it's going to want to do that sometimes. And so as you're putting it in, you have to feel it. You have to feel around to make sure that thing is flush. And oftentimes I'll go like that and I'll end up snapping it in. I hear a little click, just like that. Click. So I'm going to do that. And with this thumb, I just hold it down like that. Now, if I don't know if it's in there, I rotate it a little bit. See? And that really helps it move into place. But you can feel it when it's flat. And if you look at it, my cats are crying. If you look at it, it should look straight up and down. It should look straight up and down. You don't want any tilting. Okay, so now I'm going to clamp this one down. Well, let's start over here. Okay. Okay, make sure this is pushed all the way. Lay it onto the black thing. My dog's going to bark. Okay, well, I'm holding it to the camera, so it's hard for me to. Alright, so I'm going to hold that with this thumb, and I can feel that it's in there. And then I slowly, and I can't emphasize this enough, go slow, because if it's tilted, by slowly doing it, you're not committing, and then when you go, you can feel it. If it's tilted, you'll be able to feel it. Okay, so I know that this is straight up and down, and even by looking at it, you can see it's straight up and down. So I'm going to press it as hard as I can, and then I press it even harder. Okay, now this is supposed to bulge out. That's a good thing. Be quiet. Be quiet. Okay, so if you look under here, there's a little metal piece right there. That's what's pushing down that spike. And so that spike has to be lined up with this. If it's not lined up with that, it's going to go off. And when you're pushing this down, that metal thing is kind of inside, and the rubber part is helping push down on the plastic without breaking it. So that metal part is pushing down on that little nub in the middle. If that is not compressed hard enough, it sticks out too much and you don't get a snap. So if you try to snap this and it's not snapping, just put it back in there. Make sure it's flat. But the second time is easier. Okay, there's a cat climbing on my table. And then just push it as hard as you can. What? Uh-oh, no. Okay, cats cannot eat these. Alright. Alright, so we're going to get a second one. And I do this on the table. This is what I do. I put my cap down and I hold this down so that I can center it. And I want about an inch in between both sides, so that when you fold it, you have a little bit like a half an inch. And it looks good. If they're too close together, it could be difficult for somebody to match them up, but also it doesn't look that good. See, if they're too close together, it looks kind of funny. So you want about an inch in between the two. So on my table, each square is an inch. And without spilling my Pepsi, be quiet. Right here. All right. So I use these squares as guidelines, and I'll put this one in the square next to it, in the middle of the square, and this one is also in the middle of the square, so they'll be an inch apart. And then center it, and then just push it through like that. Now it's a lot easier to keep it flat on the table, because before, you know, they were falling. So I just keep it like that. And then this is what they call an outie. It's got the raised part. Now on size 20 they look like this, but when you get to the smaller sizes, they look a little different. Okay, so then I'm going to, and I hold this because if I drop it, it doesn't fall on the floor, and I don't want these to fall on the floor because the cats will eat them. Okay, so I'm feeling with my thumb like this. I have my fingernail inside right there. And I can tell, if I rotate, I can tell that is flat in there. It's just the smooth rotation. If it wasn't flat in there, it would pretty much fall out when I would do that. Okay, so I know it's in there. Also, if I pull it back and forth, I can feel that it's in there. And I'm not going to smash my finger, because as soon as I come down like that, and then I can still feel that it's straight. So it has to be straight. Alright, so I'm going to press, and then as hard as I can. Now, I'm used to doing this. I think I'm pretty strong, so it's not a big deal for me. But if you find it very difficult to use this, they have a table press. They're more expensive, but you have a big lever, and you can get a lot of force in there. They're really nice though. This one cost me $12. This is the Cam brand, and there's other brands. There's imitation brands, and then there's whatever the other sewing brand is. I'm really, really happy with this. I'm glad I bought it, because when you push this down, this goes straight down. If you had another kind of wrench that does this, it's not really straight down, it's kind of curving, but this goes straight down, and so the force that you put on there is, you can put a lot of force on there. So this particular wrench comes with 3 different sizes that I can change, and it's just a screw right here. So I can go up one size and down one size. And so I have the caps for those. I just haven't tried it yet. And then I think it also has a spare one of these. So it was a really good deal, because as this wears out, I can just change them out. So, and this is really solid. So, that's it. This is really the first wrench I bought, and I just didn't want to spend a lot of money. Be quiet. Shh. Shh. But this particular wrench won't do metal rivets. And I would love to do metal rivets, but just not right now. I don't have to do them right now. So I bought this one. And this is from Kamsnaps. And my snaps are also from Kamsnaps, and the box is from Harbor Freight Tools. So the box looks like this. And all of these fit inside, and this was like $3 on sale. Alright, so I've got the 2 halves. Every single time I make this, I test it, and you hear a click. Sometimes you don't hear the click, and you can press it again, and sometimes you still don't hear the click, but it does hold, and you can pull it apart. And that's simply because sometimes these little plastic things are irregular, and sometimes they're so bad that you can't use them. You'll see maybe it's melted or something. So just inspect, make sure if you're having trouble with one, make sure that it's not actually defective. They sell, like I said, they sell other sizes, but they also sell caps with longer posts. This is a regular post. They sell XL posts, and when you squeeze them, you have more space, and those are meant for very thick fabrics. If you try to use an XL on the ribbon, it's going to look really funky and possibly not pressed down enough, and it may not work. So just check to see if you have XL. You should use regular on these. So yeah, I just want to say, like, if you had gotten it to work before, check if you are using new snaps. Check to see if this thing is gotten loose. I think it was working before and not so much now. I think simply that this thing starts to kind of get rough, a little worn out, and the plastic doesn't slide in like it was before when it was brand new. So you have to take extra time to push it in. And also, as you go, maybe you're trying to go faster and faster and faster. You can go faster, but there's only so much you can do, because you can't just boom, you know, because you have to just take the time to make sure it's straight. So you don't have to rush it. Like I said, and I've talked to other people online about this. They have a hard time getting them to snap, and it's usually it's just that they don't press hard enough. So you have to press until it stops, like you can't go anymore, and then try it even a little bit more. I've had a few where I didn't press hard enough, and I thought I did, and I had to just press it again, and then it would work. So this is a really nice sound, snapping, and so this one's done. This cat. He wants to go outside. So you can buy different shapes, and if you have these are also difficult to make sure that they go in flat in here because of the edges that stick out. So you'll have to take a little bit extra time, especially the stars. Take a little extra time. It should fit perfectly. This is a size 20, so it should fit perfectly in there. So the back is the same, but this is just shaped. But this should fit perfectly in there, and you can even feel it, that it's right in there. Just like the circle one. And it's in there like that. But if you're pushing it like that, sometimes they stick out. So look at it. Just look at it. If you press it down and it's like that, I don't have an example, but this little guy is going to look like it's smeared to one side. Okay. If you've got that, to fix it, what you need to do, if that thing has pushed down sideways, like hammering a nail down like that, if that thing is pushed down this way, then you need to pull this towards that. And what that's going to do is it's just going to, it's a lot like taking a nail out. You got to go with the flow. So if you have strong fingernails, you can pull it. If you can't do that, they sell a little tool that's kind of like little nail clippers that fits inside here, and you can snap that off. And basically you're breaking it so you can't use it again, but that's how you would get it off. What I have done is, because I don't have that tool, is I would just cut this off like that and then do the next one here. And that's going to make your lanyard a little bit shorter, but at least you won't break your fingers trying to get that. You can always, keep that one for yourself, and you know that it's a little bit shorter. So that's what I've done. Whenever I've made a mistake, it looks bad, I just keep it. Okay, so I think that's really all I have to say. Like I said, there's other kinds of these. There's a lot of reviews on the web on these. I really don't know one way or another. I really like this one. It's not greasy. Like sometimes tools are like coated with some kind of weird grease. This is not greasy at all. This is very clean, and it's light enough, but it's also very sturdy. Like I don't think this is going to break on me if I squeeze it too hard. So I got this at Kamsnaps. So it's kamsnaps.com. So it's just a distributor company. The manufacturer is in China, I guess, and they distribute all over the world. If you shop at Kamsnaps, you can get really good customer service if you email the owner, Judy, and she can help you troubleshoot. She can help you figure out what's wrong. She can tell you what kind of wrench to get if you want to do metal rivets or magnets or things like that. This one only does plastic and only does 3 sizes, with size 20, 16, and 22, I think. And so stuff like that. So I guess that's all I have to say. So just message me if you have any questions. Thanks.